This is ENT, the ED News ticker for Wednesday, May 23rd, 2012. I'm Kirsten Winkler.
And I'm Christopher Dawson. Grokkit wants to build a Pinterest for learning. Grokkit's new product, Learnist, wants to be a Pinterest of learning. Soon anyone will be able to compile content pieces onto a board of learning or learning. A bookmarklet makes it easy to collect content from other sites. Unlike Pinterest, however, creators suggest a path in which to consume each content component. Users can check off each component as they go or re-add it to one of their own learnings. Grokkit will continue to offer its test prep service for $30 per month, but is focusing on Learnist going forward. Grokkit's social adaptive learning question sets are now embeddable within Learnist boards. Test prep was always a stepping stone to larger learning, their CEO says, about this change in direction. We always knew this was coming, we just didn't know what it would look like. So that's for Mashable. So it's an interesting development there. I just joined Learnist. We'll see.
You sent me the invite.
Yeah.
You know what I thought? My first thought was, oh gosh, no, not another curation service or expert curation for learning content. The world, or questioning, does the world really need it?
Yep.
Well, now I know that the guys from Grokkit are behind that, so I will definitely give it a spin. Didn't sign up so far, but thanks for the invite. And
sure.
It looks, or I'm a little bit more friendly with it now.
Slightly more intrigued, right? Because they're pretty sharp folks. They've done the good stuff, so we'll see. I agree. It's one more service, but who knows? Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully. Another story from Mashable, a former Kaplan executive launches Civitas Learning. Charles Thornburg, a former senior executive at Kaplan, launches Civitas Learning, a digital education platform that uses predictive analytics to help guide educational decision-making. Civitas works with partner institutions and also more specifically with the data those partner institutions have gathered about their students to identify trends about these classes students enroll in, the majors they take on, and other factors that can determine career courses and overall success in their post-collegiate lives. The company, based in Austin, Texas, has raised $4.1 million in venture capital funding, which was probably seeing the people involved and also the space they decided to be in, so data collection seems to be a relative no-brainer. But once again, maybe just another service, and we have to see if they really can build something meaningful and that helps also people to work with those data.
I'm looking for one data warehouse to rule them all at this point, but we'll see. So in other news, in Google news, Google did not infringe on Oracle patents according to a jury today, but the jurors did struggle with the technical language in the patents, which I thought was actually more interesting than the ruling, which I kind of expected. So Google won the second part of its patent fight over Android with Oracle today when a jury decided unanimously that it did not infringe on patents from Sun Microsystems, which was purchased by database giant Oracle in 2009. But two interesting takeaways for educators. One, there's a bit less uncertainty about the adoption of Android versus possibly iOS in schools. And two, as with previous Google and Oracle trials, as well as a couple other high-profile tech trials recently, jurors struggled with highly technical language in the patents. So just kind of one more case to be made for a general sort of technical curriculum and a changing way in which we talk about language education. So I just thought I found that interesting over on ZDNet.
And I suppose Richard Byrne will have heard that with delight, as he has what I just recently saw, a new site for Android and tools.
Yes, indeed.
Bad news for and from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt as they filed for bankruptcy. Publishing giant Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, citing a whopping $3.5 billion in debt, filed for bankruptcy in U.S. court today. According to Bloomberg, more than 20 affiliates also entered bankruptcy, including Borderbound LLC and Classroom Connect Incorporated. The global financial crisis over the past several years has negatively affected Houghton Mifflin's financial performance in a business that depends largely on state and local funding for the school book market, said William Bayers, company general counsel, in court papers. So the reorganized company will be looking to deals with Amazon, amongst others, to develop new revenue streams after it emerges from bankruptcy protection. And that comes from Business Week.
Yeah, $3.5 billion.
Wow.
Wowzers.
And, has negatively affected Houghton Mifflin's financial performance.
Do you think? Yeah, I guess so.
I have some $3.5 billion give or a slight indicator, I would say.
Yeah. I think that I also read that this is coming to some extent from their series of mergers. They used to be Harcourt and then Houghton Mifflin, and there were a bunch of mergers that happened, and they were all expected to do well, and none of them really did. And then
a little inside story. I was approached from their, then I suppose, European chapter out of Ireland, and they were very interested in getting my view and, if you will, an analysis of the online educational market. And so we had a nice talk. But as soon as I mentioned the word pay and money for analysis and data and so on, they weren't very pleased and interested anymore. So I think the writing was on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have to make a living as well, and I accept giving something for free in the first talk, but then, I actually would like to get paid for at least some services.
Seems fair. So,
all right.
Excellent. On to K-12 and higher education news. So, former Twitter CTO takes a key role at Cornell's New York City Tech campus. Cornell University is building a revolutionary technology campus in New York City in collaboration with the Technion Israel Institute of Technology, and filling a key role at the school will be former Twitter chief CTO Greg Pass. Pass will serve as Cornell NYC's Tech Founding Entrepreneurial Officer, which is a great new title, a role tasked with ensuring the academic program is tightly intertwined with New York City's many technology firms, and the curricula is highly focused on developing students' entrepreneurial skills. Pass will also help direct student hackathons, coding workshops, as well as serve a public face for the university. So, also from Nashville. That's cool news. I like that.
The title is the best, Founding Entrepreneurial Officer.
Really?
So,
yeah.
I wonder how long it took them to create that title.
That's
it's good news.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting news. The story is not only about the title, definitely. So, on Adweek, we can hear and read that Mitt Romney calls for funding school choice with funds for disabled students. U.S. Republican presidential hopeful Mitt Romney outlined his education agenda today, in particular aiming to expand school choice and make funds through the IDEA, so IDEA, and Title I programs for disabled and disadvantaged students, respectively. Portable when students wish to attend online schools, charter schools, or otherwise leave schools that don't meet their needs. According to Adweek, when it comes to the No Child Left Behind Act, Romney would dismantle the accountability system at the heart of the law and calls for schools to create report cards with a variety of information about student progress. Schools would have report scores on the National Assessment of Educational Progress, known as the nation's report card. What do you think about that?
I just did a webcast with Angela Myers on CBS about something very similar to this, and I gotta say, not a big Romney fan here, but I think this may be sort of on the right track.
Idea has something to it. Yeah.
It really does. And it's not so much that he's, sort of redirecting these funds, which is what I thought when I first saw the headline. It's just that they get to be portable. And so you get to take your funds for special needs, special education to wherever you might go and hopefully have your needs served in a free market.
An interesting idea, worth discussing, at least thinking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah? Maybe he has found at least one topic.
One area. Just one. Oh, well. So the NSA is teaming up with colleges to train students for secret cyber ops jobs. Also more good fun news. The National Security Agency is partnering with select universities to train students in cyber operations for intelligence, military, and law enforcement jobs, work that will remain secret to all but a select group of students and faculty who pass clearance requirements. Although 20 universities applied to participate in the program, only 4 were selected so far: Dakota State University, Naval Postgraduate School, Northeastern University, and the University of Tulsa. The cyber operations curriculum is part of the Obama administration's national initiative to improve cybersecurity through education and is designed to prepare students for jobs with the U.S. Cyber Command, the NSA Signals Intelligence Operations, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and other law enforcement agencies that investigate cyber crimes, courtesy of Wired. Now there is a cool major.
And I have to say, I don't, coming from the outside and looking at what's happening over there in the States, I know none of these universities. Are they, do you think they pick them as sort of, first prototype thingies?
The only one that has, what I know to be an awesome computer science program is Northeastern, right down the road from me. At Naval Postgraduate School, that makes sense. That seems a natural fit.
Yeah.
But Dakota State and University of Tulsa, who knows? Maybe it's because they're so obscure, no one will worry about what their students are doing in their off hours. But
that was my first thought. But,
middle of nowhere in Tulsa.
Yeah, but probably they. Then, if that works well, they are going to extend the program.
Oh yeah, it makes sense.
All right, moving on. Oakland Schools blackmail students at risk. Researchers found that 1 out of 5 African-American boys in Oakland, more than 1,200 students, were suspended from school at least once last year, and an equal number were chronically absent. The study identified the early warning signs of a high school dropout, including an absentee rate of at least 10 days in a school year, at least one suspension, below grade literacy, and being held back a grade. To address problems, Superintendent Tony Smith created the Office of African American Male Achievement in October 2010. Sorry, I know it's not funny, but the title, one of a handful of public school programs in the country focused on one subset of students based on a single ethnicity and gender. While the report's number were sobering, Chapman said it's important to note the good news, including the nearly 1,200 black students who landed on the honor roll this spring. Comes from San Francisco Gate, so SF Gate.
Interesting. Well, I think these are things that they've been looking at with analytics for a long time, and it's pretty easy to pick out subsets, regardless of where you are, that are going to struggle. And it's just... I
read a very similar story about Latino male students, so the two demographics, or ethnies, if you will, seem to... at least really, comparable in some points.
Absolutely. No, I think, and they're really at a very similar socio-demographic place right now here in the States. So nearly $100,000 in college checks appear forged in audit finds. It's only $100,000. I thought it'd be a lot more. Auditors and handwriting experts reviewed the checks and other documents. Experts concluded the signature of Trade Tech President Roland Chip Chapdelaine was probably forged on dozens of checks to the executive director, Ria Chung. The audit found another official signature was forged on bonus agreements and another contract involving Chung. She has been on administrative leave since January after a previous district audit raised questions about the propriety of bonuses and perks paid to her. The Times reported in February that Chung has spent tens of thousands of dollars in foundation money to help needy students on golf outings and restaurant meals. That's from the LA Times. So excellent. That's the Los Angeles School District. We know that those California schools are having some struggles.
Who doesn't want to have a good meal?
Well, sure.
No, but that's quite.
That's sobering.
I am almost certain it's not the only case. Of course, it's not limited to the U.S., but it's still every time it's sad to hear how people misuse their power, the money. Yeah. Okay, and well, another story from Business Insider, and 80% of Spanish teachers were on strike on Tuesday. So if you're in Europe, that's maybe not so surprising, but 80%. So teachers and students from every level of Spain's education system went on strike Tuesday to protest wide-ranging government spending cuts, erecting makeshift tombs at university campuses to symbolize what they claim will be the death of the country's schooling system. Union officials said 80% of the country's teachers took part. All but 3 of Spain's 17 regions participated in the stoppage, the biggest in a series of strikes so far this year that had until now been scattered around the country. The Education Ministry did not return a call seeking government figures. Very serious situation. I mean, we had stories about youth unemployment, the generally very bad economic situation in Spain. They are very deep in a crisis, and now cuts in education, as we all know, are the least best
popular
thing to, even to save money. And I mean,
seems there's other ways to institute some austerity, but I'm over here in the States where we do it all the time. So the final report for the day: college students are studying less, and this was featured on NPR this morning too, and a few other outlets. It's from the Daily Beast, though, in particular. According to the National Survey of Student Engagement, the amount of time college students spend preparing for class each week has dropped from 24 hours a week to about 15 over the past 12 years. Critics say college students are getting lazier, and college is less demanding academically and more focused on athletics. Others count that students have to take on more work to afford higher education and make ends meet. And you also hear that others saying, well, it's simply easier to be a college student with the likes of Google at your fingertips. But
that's an interesting thought, actually, how the internet and services like Google, other technology applications can help you save time, so that maybe those 15 hours per week may not equal 24 hours, but putting this in relation and not simply saying it's less.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. I don't deny that I think most students are relaxing a little more than we did in college, but we probably all did our share of relaxing in college too. So, well, on that fun note, that closes this episode of ENT. You'll find all the links to the articles we covered on EduQuest. Just go to eduquest.com/ENT16. Also follow the Ed News Ticker on Twitter @EdNewsTicker to stay updated during the week. You can also help us with the show. Just go to our news subreddit at ednewsticker.reddit.com and submit your own articles or vote and comment on those you want us to discuss during the show. ENT will be back on Friday. Till then, have a great rest of the week, everyone.